Okay, well, uh, thank you everyone for joining, whether you are watching us live or watching the replay. One thing at Mezmira that we value is time, so thank you for taking the time. I'm Amy Seaman. I'm the head of fashion and styling at Mezmira, and this is one of our most fashionable friends and resident stylist, Cristina. So Cristina is also what I like to call the sneaker queen because her sneaker game is strong. The one I go to when I'm like, what do I need next? So I'm excited to have a conversation with Cristina today about fashion sneakers and specifically in the office. So the term fashion sneaker is not a trend that is new on the scene. It's been around for a while. And in fact, I wouldn't even call it a trend anymore because it is now a staple in our wardrobes and how we style outfits. And really how it evolved was, when we say fashion sneaker, what does that mean? Well, sneakers historically were just for the gym when you're working out or going for a run. And then all of a sudden we started seeing them styled with skirts and dresses. And it was like, okay, maybe you're onto something, right? And so those who maybe weren't on board with it right away, it has slowly really gained momentum, not just for the cool effect that it gives any outfit, right? That effortlessness, but also because of the comfort. I know for me personally, like my feet have rejected heels since the pandemic, and I'm slowly trying to get them used to it again, but sneakers tend to win out in most cases. So as we've identified, like, okay, this is here to stay, I think also it brings so much like overwhelm and stress because there are options upon options upon options. So what do I need? How am I going to wear them, right? So we understand that this can be very overwhelming and a struggle. So what we want to do is we just want to break it down for you a little bit today, right? So we just want to give you kind of high level, here's some value add that you can take away. And then also as stylists, how can we help you up your sneaker game if that's something that you're interested in? So with that, Cristina, question is, how do your sneakers perform in your wardrobe when you think about the function that they play?
So my personal style like always has this kind of I like to inject a sense of ease in whatever it is that I'm wearing. And what I've noticed lately is, you know, while I was looking for ways to level up my joggers, you know, back 3 years ago, 2 years ago, now I'm finding myself gravitating towards, you know, maybe some more tailored pieces, more, you know, going back to the office kind of pieces. And so I'm looking where I can best inject that ease to go with like a suit or you know, a maxi skirt. And my sneakers have been performing that way for me, like on overtime. So it also is that
I just want to pause you for 1 second there, because when you know, with this suit and whatever, so we're specifically kind of focusing on office because that is where our Mezmira clients are. That is our focus in helping professional women elevate their personal brand in the office. So do you, before you go on to the function of it, do you feel that that sneakers are appropriate in the office in like any setting? Like if you're on stage presenting,
I do think that sneakers can make their way into like a boardroom, a, you know, conference, guest speaking, those type of scenarios. I think the importance is still feeling like yourself and feeling grounded. And we talk about that a lot. And for me, and what I try to convey, like what being grounded is that sense of self and that sense of confidence, and, you know, in the sneaker. So I never want to, there are certain sneakers that I wouldn't be part of my wardrobe necessarily. And it's also about how the sneaker is creating the shape of the entire look, and how, you know, for example, like a ballet flat is not necessarily something that I would gravitate towards, but I have some sneakers that perform like that in my closet. And that's when you start kind of switching your thinking, that's where I think you can open your mind to how to incorporate a sneaker in a more business setting.
So I love that. I love how you're like, okay, ballet flat. And what do we like about a ballet flat? It's really sleek, it's lightweight, it's
Well,
elongating, right?
since you
So then
asked.
what would your alternative to a ballet flat be?
So, yes, so my current favorite, if I can play Vanna for a second, is this Samba. It's probably an oldie but goodie. I personally have never owned it, but I love the low profile, the sleekness, and this, you know, like I said, has a very similar silhouette to what like a ballet flat might be. So I see, and you know, because of the color variety, the mixed media, like different textures, they come in all sorts of varieties. And you know, if you, you know, there's some saturated color if I wanted a pop, and you know, I can go on and on about the different ways that these, you know, come in, the way they come in, the personality that it can show. But for me, that's like a go-to more recently. And also being a more streamlined silhouette, it can kind of mimic, like with a tailored blazer or a trouser. I feel like that juxtaposition plays well in that sandbox.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so give us a couple. I know you have a couple more examples. Different that
Yes.
function as an
So a
alternative
boot
to a
is
shoe that
something, you
you
know,
already
in the
own or that
colder
is
months and even in the warmer months is a popular shoe. So my sneaker alternative is really any high top, but you know, I mean, if you can go bejeweled, why not? So again, injecting personality, this could, for me, be something that, you know, it can be super fun, which is an obvious kind of choice, but it also could operate as,
Yep.
you know, like your ankle boot in play in that area as well.
Right. Mhm.
Yeah.
And what's the Converse too, not the bedazzled ones, which I may actually just get out my rhinestoning now that I've been doing that for dance competition and just myself. But what I love about the Converse is, in particular for a high top, is when you lace them, they're really slim at the shaft.
Yep.
So if you have a trouser or something underneath, it does just slide under really
Yes.
nice and doesn't create a lot of
Yeah.
extra bulk.
Kind of like a sock.
So
If people have those sock booties and the boots, yes, great alternative for that. Oh, yes. And we all kind of have come recently to love loafers, chunkier loafers. So anything to, sometimes with a sneaker, I like to still feel elevated, literally like add a couple inches to my height. And this fun little number has a chunkier profile and it injects color and, you know, level of fun, but also gives me the like height that I want, that would operate how maybe a chunkier loafer might in my wardrobe.
Yeah, I love that. Another thing too, it's like if you are someone who maybe has a very neutral color palette, a lot of prints, but you kind of want something that will just breathe new life into your existing wardrobe. A pattern in a shoe or a bright colored shoe is a beautiful and easy way to do that. And especially because it's at the bottom half of your outfit, right? So if print up here feels really scary or bold colors up here, doing it in a shoe is really a safe way to kind of step into adding some more
and to that point too, you know, it's if you want to play with metallics, you can find it. I mean, this, you know, is my way to play with another texture or another no color kind of thing, but just to add some sparkle. Sometimes I don't want it in my pants or my shirt, but that's another way to play in that and feel like you're still like participating in trying new things.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I love that. Participating. You have permission to participate if you shoes. Okay, so let's talk about one thing that you said is you consider
Mm-hmm.
sneakers to sort of be a utility piece. So talk to me about, or talk to us about, what do you define utility piece, and then
So
how can that be
utility
a
piece is
statement
something that
maker in
we,
an outfit?
always that we're always using in our, something that we're using in our daily life, whether it's glasses. I love a good statement glasses moment. I feel like sneakers and shoes can be that. We have to wear shoes to go outside, and why not make them as important to our overall look as we would, picking out a bright colored top, or some piece that gives us joy and brightens us up, makes our shoulders stand back a little bit more. Not to forget about those pieces that are everyday and don't always get the love or the flowers, as the kids say these days, as they deserve. So yeah, I'd say play with your shoes and the possibilities as much as you would any other kind of piece that you would in your wardrobe.
Yeah, I love that. I do think sometimes when we think of something that we're gonna, a purchase that we're gonna make, that, or an investment we're gonna make that we want to get the most wear out of, I think our default in many cases is, well, I should probably get the white or the black, or because it's gonna go with everything, right? And so what I'm hearing you say is those pieces that you have to wear often can really be the star of the show.
Yeah.
And that is a place to invest and get more playful, because it's going to bring more joy, right? I say that all the time about coats in Minnesota. We have to wear them for a very long time. It's freezing. So get one and invokes joy and is colorful on a dreary day. It doesn't have to.
And I think too,
a black puffer jacket. So the same
we're both
goes
moms, and I think too we lean in on the practicality side, or we have 4 pair of black pants or 4 pair of jeans, or I already have 2 sneakers. But it's really examining how these things are performing in your wardrobe, and versus like how many, right? How many of these things do we have when it comes to that practicality? So we can still inject some creativity in that and still create a balance. And again, that permission that we talk about, sometimes we feel like we need. It's the more you broaden the way you think about how they're performing for you and your wardrobe, I think the more practical they actually become.
Yeah, and I think with a lot of our clients who are professional women who are traveling for work again, right? So this is that both of you and I see a lot more, is now we're starting to travel again, and often it is you fly in and you go straight to meetings, right? And then potentially right out to dinner afterward, and then you have a next day of meetings, and then back to the airport. And so it's a carry-on bag. You don't have a lot of room. Shoes take up the most amount of room, right? And if you're not comfortable in a heel, by the time you go through the airport and get your destination, your feet are already hurting you, right? Or in some cases, you don't want to have to like wear a sneaker and then change right away into a heel if that's not your preference. And so what we're finding is a lot of our clients are like, what is that sneaker that I could wear on the plane and to the meetings, and then the next day and back, and it's still practical. So that is something that I think again, giving permission and opening up our mindset to the possibility of I don't have to bring it. It can really get me from there, and
for sure.
And still look really polished and pulled together.
That the idea of having like that the Adidas, the black and white shoe in my closet is one of those pieces that I feel like I could go have my airport look and go see a client and still, still perform, still have credibility, still be able to, be respectful of the situation, that I'm in, and be comfortable and put together, which is like the if we could bottle, comfortable and put together, that would be the answer. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. And like you said, for you and maybe for others, it's that grounding element. So what feels the most authentic to you? I think that if you're someone who feels that you stand taller in a high heel and you feel more powerful, by all means, wear the high heel. But if you've always felt a bit unbalanced or painful or an imposter in a heel, really lean into
Totally.
what feels authentically you. And maybe it is a sneaker and kind of stepping into that. So I love your perspective on this. I always love how you encourage
Yeah.
women to figure out what feels, the most them and brings out the best in them. And also just the reframing of, okay, so you like the look of a ballet flat, but you're not really going to wear a ballet flat. Here's an alternative. So wonderful.